broke my heart. Now I'm gonna break something of yours!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Heartbreak Hotel. My name is Sid, and I'm your resident manager here. If you haven't tuned in yet, Heartbreak Hotel is a place where guests come to stay in order to discuss their profound secrets, things that might be bothering them for some time, or if they simply need to talk about anything that will make their minds lighter. Today, I got another guest in the building that is awesome enough to come and share their story, and they've brought along some insightful life lessons to be learned with them. So without further ado, how's it going, man? What brings you in today?
Oh, man. Well, the thing is, so we met a couple times, and then, when you brought this opportunity to talk about, my heartbreak, yeah, I had a pretty good story to tell, and I was more than willing to share it with you guys.
I really respect that because it takes a lot to talk about the realer things in life, right?
Yeah.
The things that matter, the things that... that's why I kind of started this podcast, because I truly just simply enjoy having genuine conversations with people. That's what it comes down to.
Me too, man. Honestly, you meet some people in life and you really get along with them, and I hope that whatever through this conversation or at some level you've learned something from this, right? So, I don't know, without further ado.
Take it away. What brings you in? What do you want to talk about?
Man, I had a pretty good journey, and our mutual friend, we knew each other in high school, and man, I was just a different person back then. So growing up, so my background, I'm a brown dude, so Asian parents, very typical, come to Canada, become a doctor, lawyer, whatever.
Those three basic money-making careers.
Engineer, lawyer, doctor, maybe teacher's a second tier, which is unfortunate to say, but the reality is, yeah, that's what you do. And, your parents kind of put you in certain things. But socially, man, it's not like I never had an issue talking to people, right? But I was so awkward and stuff like that. I think you just hit puberty, so the hormones are just raging, right? But regardless of the fact, I would socially, my mom, if I had to go to someone's house, I had to beg my parents, please let me go. They would never even let me go.
So they ran a tight ship in your household,
essentially, man.
Right? That's what it came down to. And I'm sure we can all relate how South Asian parents or Asian parents or just those type of parents run their household. It is strict. It is very study oriented. It is very disciplined.
Right.
And hindsight's 2020, and I could understand the good that it can bring in your life. But as you just mentioned, the awkwardness or the social life that it affected,
definitely,
right? That also could negatively impact your future, right?
So it's being part of your environment, right? For me already, I kind of set myself to be kind of not so social, and when it comes to dating and per se, right, girls and all that stuff, my dad never sat down with me, hey son, this is where babies get made and all that stuff, right? All that good conversation, oh, this is what you do, to go out with the girls. So I had no clue. I had no older brother, or even my male cousins never really come talk to me about that stuff. So I was so lost, right? And even too, I think with brown culture, they kind of shy away from talking about sex, things like that. You don't see that in those Bollywood movies or even Tamil movies.
No,
you hardly even see them kiss. The most they ever do is hug, and that's forbidden, right, on its own. So all those things.
I
right?
mean, those movies have come a long way.
They have, but back then, man, I never see that. If they kiss, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Right. So all that stuff combined, I would say going through high school was an awkward phase of my life, and then when I went to university too, I would say, I guess I met more girls that were smart, right, plus attractive.
So your social life definitely improved. Did you move away from university?
No, that's the thing. I actually stayed back home, so I still commuted. I think I went to one or two parties for high school, and then university, I started going out more.
Okay,
right.
So can you talk about what kind of changed and loosened? Is it just in terms of your household? Is it just that he's grown up now? We definitely should let him.
I kind of lied a little bit too.
Oh, okay.
I would say, but I mean,
you got to do what you got to do, right?
100%. Some of those guys from high school, we still end up hanging out with each other, right?
Yeah,
and some of those. So I went out with them and hang out with them too, but then ended up not doing that great at school too, part of that as well. But I started going out more and started finding better time balance and stuff like that.
Right.
But even going back to high school too, man, I really liked this one girl and I had a huge crush on her. I was so scared to talk to her. I sat behind her every day in class. I wanted to talk to her. I called her every day, actually, right?
Oh, yeah?
But I never had the courage to ask her.
Hey, man, at least you had a phone in high school.
I made her a CD, dude.
What? Oh, damn. Okay.
A whole mixtape, man.
Really?
You know what I skipped on? The boombox speaker outside the window when the rocks are there.
No way, man. That's man. You know those romantic movies and things that guys do. That is as cliche as it gets, right?
100%, man. But that's what the thing you see on TV. So but
that's beautiful. Young
It
love.
is. And that's what I thought love was, right? I thought that's what you saw on TV, and you're like, oh man, that's like what it should be, right? You should give like a grand gesture, and she'll win you over, right? If you stalk her like a little bit, right?
So would you like to tell me how that worked out for you?
No, I did not, man. We never talked, and like I still had a bit of a crush on her entering university. I still thought about her, but then I don't know.
That same girl from high school.
Yeah,
Right.
Like that last year of high school, I had like a huge crush. But then afterwards, when I went to university, sorry, I met some more attractive girls like that were like more on the same mindset too. And like the problem is like in my mind too, I thought that one girl was on a pedestal, and I always thought about her. But you sort of learn to let go.
You still got her at the back of your mind.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
I still remember the phone number.
Oh yeah, back when we didn't just people just inputted their phone numbers, and now your phone is responsible for remembering things.
Is it weird to say that I knew the number even a year into it?
No, dude, let me tell you honestly, I still remember because at that time when those keyboard phones, right, that's when you truly had to remember numbers.
But I thought I was just obsessed with it a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
no, you're right. That definitely plays a part in it too, right?
So
I could tell you some numbers that I remember to this day, right, for some girls, but you're right, that does play a part in it.
I would say that love was more puppy dog love, right? And like in my mind, I put her on a pedestal, and I never really thought about it.
What made you finally let go of that person?
I think I just moved on. You know what I mean?
You just moved on. Time heals wounds. And,
Essentially, yeah. But I think I met someone I liked more, and I thought she was attractive. She's cool, and we used to talk. Like we used to text all the time, and right, and things got a little more flirty with her.
Yeah,
and
so you found somebody new, and then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, you know what? I don't want that experience where in high school I didn't have the courage, or I didn't have that, just that thing inside me to break that barrier and actually ask her. But didn't you say that you kind of were outside her, like you showed her some gestures?
No, I think we hung out a couple times, we studied a lot, and I don't know if she knew I liked her.
So that wasn't the girl. This is the university girl. Okay. So
I liked a couple
girls
girls in university, but this
Right.
the one girl I think my fourth year I asked her, right?
Okay.
I asked her and she told me no. I was heartbroken, man. So heartbroken, man. I put all my eggs into this one basket.
Right.
I thought, for sure we hung out a lot. Like things were looking good. We flirted a lot, on text, right? But no physical stuff, right?
Okay.
But essentially, in short, I ended the friend zone, man. Right?
Oh,
all the
man.
benefits of a relationship.
Classic infamous friend zone.
I'm gonna tell some people on some other terms, okay? And I'm gonna break some new knowledge for you guys. So if you guys want to listen to this, I was an emotional tampon. Okay, it's a terrible term to say, but
Elaborate.
Elaborate. Okay, so what it is some people do this, and it may come more from a girl to a guy, right? A girl might use a guy and say, "Hey, I'm going to kind of use this guy, kind of and not subconsciously, whatever, maybe whatever, right? But at some level, she'll get a guy to tell all her emotional stuff, all her things, right?
So she's relying on this person
For the
as
emotional-
a friend, for emotional support.
need.
Yeah.
But
for
no physical things, right?
Right. Okay.
It cuts it off at there.
I'm following you, and
then
that's it.
Absorb all that stuff in the tampon, toss that mother
Man,
out the window.
Sounds
man.
harsh, but you can't be more right.
Yeah, and I truly believe in the friend zone on some level. You can escape it. Cheers to Kim Possible and Ron Stoppable. My man, stop. He escaped the friend zone. Man. Shout out to Ron Possible.
You brought back some nice childhood memories.
Man,
Kim Possible was the
dude. He was with that girl from daycare or whatever, right?
Yeah,
and he lasted that long and made it to the end.
and he made it. And he made it.
I honestly pour a little liquid out for him,
As you should, man.
every time I pull a little pop a bottle for a Hennessy.
Was it Kim Possible? Ron
Stoppable.
Ron Stoppable. Yeah, because he was a goofy dude.
Yeah.
And hey, just
But I think that story will later on add to my end point, right? About being genuine, be yourself. But anyways, that's a little.
So going back, you were an emotional tampon for this girl.
I think so.
Okay.
Maybe not. You know what I mean? In my mind, maybe I have a little bit jaded view. Not gonna lie, but it's a good learning lesson too. So I told her how I felt. I put all my eggs in this basket. I was like, hopefully she likes me.
How long did you know her for before you decided to express your feelings?
No, I think about 1 to 2 years because we worked on a couple projects, right?
So good friendship, man.
Somewhat, I would say, right? Looking back, we're not friends now.
Yeah,
we're quite.
I mean,
but back
at that time,
we studied. We did a lot of things.
So let's keep ourselves in that time frame where you had this 1 to 2 year relationship with her, and of course, in 2 years of knowing somebody, I'd say, especially if they're using them for emotional support, you are actually revealing a lot about you.
Yes, you are.
Right?
And at a level that you wouldn't think, right? Because you're feeling comfortable with this person, right? And then you might take it to the next level.
Yeah.
But then, honestly.
Damn, 2 years, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
So then the day comes where you're like, you know what, man?
We met up at somewhere to go sit down in her car and talk, right? We talked for more than 30 minutes. She came to meet me at a mutual area. I'm like, okay, so she wants to meet me somewhere.
Yeah.
We hang out. I finally tell her,
Right.
and I felt so bad. I felt devastated, dude.
So you had these feelings marinate inside you, and you're like, so backtracking in the sense that what finally gave you that strength and courage to jump over that fence and express your feelings for her?
Man, I was going back and forth. I was tearing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I had so much anxiety building up to it because, like, in my mind, I'm like, geez, like, I don't know if this girl is gonna like me or not. But I think kind of like somehow some of the courage to do it because
So many what if questions come.
Dude, you're playing with your mind a lot.
100%.
It's like a battle between your mind, like what should I do, what should I not, and like there's fear involved in it too,
Right.
And like that's another thing. Like I think I was so scared to fail, right? And I mean, we'll talk about it more later on about that too.
Of course.
But I think ultimately all those things, like my mind, like I think I kind of weighed it out in my head, and I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna try, let's do it, and then. You know, kudos to me for even doing that. You know, like
No, 100%, and I was gonna get into that later in the sense that first for yourself, for your personal self, in the sense that you jumped over that fence.
Yeah.
You didn't do that in high school.
No,
right?
no, definitely
you
not.
did that then. So that's what I wanted to kind of explore further, where you talked yourself into the situation because so many people talk themselves out.
I think like what it was is because like leading up to those points where we mentioned like I got more social, right? So
Yeah.
I got more out of my shell.
You grew up, right?
For
Yeah.
sure. And then I went out to more parties and like, you know what I mean? So maybe those things added on for me to be able to get to that point.
To gain your confidence.
Yeah, I think so, right? That has to be that level, right? And you know what, man? I kind of got sick and tired of like just like being on the sideline all the time, you know? And like I hate seeing, you know what I always hated seeing? Like a good looking guy or whatever get the girl of my dreams in front of me. But I realized back
You're
then.
right, man. You're right.
It's
It's happened to me many times too.
I fucking hated it, right? So much times I hated seeing like the girl I always liked and some other guy just whisk her away. And I'll tell you in hindsight, guys, like or whoever, anybody, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not the person you're meant to be with. But anyways,
It's true. You believe in destiny?
yes and no. I think there's part of it like there is some kind of guiding force, but I say our life, and this is my life motto and my philosophy, like 90% of our life is based on our choices, 10% whatever you want to make it up. Fate, God, universe.
90% is choices.
Yes.
And 10% is
Fate, God, universe, whatever you want to call it.
that so-called divine energy.
Sure.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we're not getting too like religious into it or whatever, but that interesting. So why not 100%? Why?
I think there's something
Are you a
called-
religious person? If I may ask?
I mean, I used to be, not
Okay.
anymore now, but I feel like there's a bit of luck in life, timing. It's like life works in a weird way, right? Like
So those are the inexplicable things.
Yes.
That
Those are
we
the
can't. Yeah. That I mean.
external factors.
Yeah. That
You
are
can-
outside of your control.
Exactly. But
Yeah,
then there's
okay.
so much internal factors, right, that you can work on. But again, I didn't know this stuff until later on, right?
Yeah.
And I never thought about it reflected on that level to think that. But yeah, you know, university.
Did you ever think of asking her earlier, or were you kind of?
No, man. I think intrinsically I was.
Did you want to get in tune with your own feelings first, understand them, and then kind of tell her? Because 2 years is a long time, dude.
I guess in the subconscious level, yeah, I think I probably wanted to get more to know about myself and that get to that level to be ready.
And you did. And so, but in your mind, was that the perfect time to tell her or no?
I think so because it was like fourth year we're ending and like you know I wanted to try and I wanted to you know graduate. Like I think there's a lot of those other factors, pressures I added on too.
Fair.
And you know I kind of got sick of just waiting on the sideline too.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the day's here. You met up in that mutual area, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hung out for 30 minutes or so. You had whatever conversations, and then your heart started beating really fast.
Out of my chest. Man.
Really fast. And you're like, you know what? I'm just going to do it.
Have you ever felt nauseous when you're?
Oh,
like,
100%. Of
Yeah.
course.
Excuse me, but
I have been there. I have been in those moments. I completely relate. It's those are tough conversations to have, especially when you don't know what the answer is going to be.
man, it's hard to say. Yeah, there's so much going in your mind, right? You know,
I'm just glad you talked yourself into it. You know,
I think
And you
there's
did it.
so many times you talk yourself out of life,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's that, and it sucks because I'm the type of person to always chase a complete answer in everything that I do.
Sure, and
Right?
I think so too. But then I kind of adopted this later, like after this, you know, again, like
Yeah.
I adopted this phase of just do like Nike.
Okay,
It really stopped. It really summed up a lot of my life. Made things so much more easier. Just do it. Just do it. Just
no,
do it.
That's fair,
right?
So then now you just did it, and you are here and having this conversation with her, and
Out of my chest.
how'd that go?
Once, okay, so I told her I was like building up to her. I was trying to find an opening to say it,
Yeah.
like try to stop it, and like try to get my voice in there, and then
Right.
And finally, there was like an awkward pause. And I told her, and then boom, I told her. I was waiting for her, and she's like, "Sorry, I don't think that." And then she said it so quietly and dry, like try to spare my feelings.
All right,
I
trying
don't.
to let you down easy,
Yeah,
but no, it just didn't work out that way.
I think that's kind of worse. I think you should let down someone hard, because then they know.
Really?
Because then sometimes when
The
you,
heartless, cold approach.
because if you know that they're easy on you, they might think you may think in your mind maybe there's still an opportunity, right? There's still a chance.
Because I had one of the best rejections in high school.
Told you off.
That to this day,
Yeah.
no,
I honestly think if someone told you to be f off,
no, man,
I'd be broken.
That's heartless, dude.
it is heartless. But then you learn your mind to like really just like
Now, is it honest? Absolutely,
for sure.
absolutely.
That's like a yes or no response.
Yeah, but is it heartless?
Oh, for sure.
Exactly, right? So, I mean, yeah, I would be pretty heartbroken because, like you said before, put my eggs in this basket. I really wanted to invest
man.
my, I guess, love into this
Yeah.
girl. And then I just got shot down. Not even like, hey, I don't feel about you that way. Just fuck off.
Yeah.
Come on,
but it
dude.
makes in life so much easier because then you're like, this girl's completely out of here. There's no way.
in
like,
that way- in
like
that
we can't
way,
be friends. We can't be acquaintances. We can't be anything.
The type of person I am now,
Yeah.
I appreciate the brutal honesty.
sure.
Yes, it's harsh. Yes, it's painful.
sure.
But
Yeah.
then
No.
I'd be devastated.
Me
man.
too, man. I'm not gonna lie. So like,
Yeah,
this is all
of course,
that's all
man.
it's hindsight.
Right?
All
So yeah,
hindsight.
that's why I had one of the best rejections in the sense that so I professed my feelings for this girl.
Yeah.
And she looks at me and she starts smiling, like a big smile,
Yeah.
right? And of course that throws you off because okay, well, big smile means maybe
You're the good.
yeah,
you're the
right?
great
Yeah,
zone.
I don't know, right? So she's like, dude, let me tell you something. Man, I'm just trying to think back on how she said it. So yes, I don't feel about you the same way, but I enjoy our friendship so much that I don't want like it's such a typical answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the smile on her face and the energy and the aura that she was emulating or emanating, whatever the word is, that completely made me feel like, holy crap, like I think you're right because you're convincing me out of my own feelings for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so,
So
yeah.
it's like, oh wait, maybe she is not right for me. And now she's telling me through her own weird way that my feelings for her might not be the feelings that I think
Right.
are. Does that make sense?
Kind of. Yeah, I think so.
So do you understand how she talked me out of my own feelings for her?
She played a Jedi mind trick on you.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
And I think like a week later when that shit hit me, I was like, you're a genius, man. You're a genius. Again, young love, right?
Yeah,
what do
for
I know?
sure, for sure.
What do I know? I saw a pretty girl. I was like, oh, like maybe this could be something. But she plays, like you said, the Jedi mind trick on me that, hey, maybe your feelings, not that they're not justified, but maybe you don't feel as you do. And I'm trying to help you out, trying to figure it out. And man, while she was explaining this to me, she was right. Because usually a guy would be like, no, I know how much I like you. I know what it takes to feel this and feel that. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. But she goes, but like our friendship is this. So why are you trying to define it a different way? And I'm like, holy crap, man.
That's smart.
You know what I mean?
She put some good logic into that.
Oh, man. Oh, my God.
I'm impressed by
So
this.
to this day, dude, to this day, I think about that sometimes. Like, who gets rejected and actually leaves it with a smile on his face? And because of that, moving forward in life, I was never afraid of rejection. I mean, that was a gift from that girl.
Yeah.
Right? For me. But sorry, going back to you.
Yeah.
Horrible transition back to painful rejection. So you tell her and she is trying to let you down easy and
Your mind, like, I think for me, whenever something bad happens like that, I'm not processing it fully. I just look, I'm gonna go through this, and this is me medically trained to tell you this.
Okay.
We go through like 5 stages of grief, right? Depression, anger, bargaining. No. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and
Yep.
then acceptance.
bargaining. Interesting.
Yeah. So like in my mind, I was
Because I've heard the others and I don't remember reading bargaining.
so like denial, right?
Yeah.
Your mind, you're like, I don't
Straight
believe
up.
it. You
Makes
just,
sense.
You're not processing it all. It's still you don't believe it, whatever. Then I went to a little bit of anger, bargaining with it, try to like barter, like course whatever. And then depression hit me too. I went through all that, but in the beginning, oh man, for sure I was like not processing everything. I'm pretty sure she said some other crap, and it wasn't even in my head. It was in my whole.
Yeah, because you're just heartbroken in the
her
present
car
moment.
in
that
her
moment?
car.
Yeah.
And, like,
in her car. Okay.
And I'm trying to like. I'm just in my head thinking like all these other thoughts in my head, like
Yeah.
what ifs, what do I do? Like I'm trying to think about like how to get out of this situation now, like leave,
Right. Yeah, 'cause it's
awkwardly,
so awkward. Yeah,
and then
yeah.
go to see her the next time I see her in class, like right, like all
Yeah.
those things. Yeah, man, it's just nuts, dude.
Okay, you leave there heartbroken,
Yeah,
and you go home, and what's going through your mind?
denial, still anger. Now anger started to sit in too. I'm driving home pissed because I did that. Can't believe she did that to me, kind of thing. And you start like I think in your mind, you try to think it's the world's fault, whatever, and like, you know, all that good stuff, right? You don't think it's your fault at all. You didn't do them wrong.
Hey, that's good because a lot of people blame themselves. They're like,
Well,
oh,
then
maybe
you
there's some shortcomings in me.
But you start to get that later on.
Okay.
When I got home, I felt depressed. I didn't really talk to my parents. Stuff. Maybe my mom caught on to that, maybe not. I went back to my room, just slept. I don't think I really cried or anything. I just got really upset about it. And it was hard for me to sleep a little bit, but
Fair.
Yeah, but like for sure, I blame myself too later on. For sure, I'm like, am I like not valued and stuff? And that's a thing, man. And I want to tell this to anyone out there: don't validate anyone's response except for yours. You need to look yourself in the mirror and be happy with who you are, and like
Dude,
whatever.
You're so right about that because a lot of people remember the ones that talk themselves out of any situation. Self-doubt,
Exactly.
right? Not being in tune with yourself and your feelings. Where you're like, okay, you know what? I'm not good enough for her or him.
Yeah.
So I'm the one to blame here.
Exactly. And that's a natural response. That's a natural human response to anything, right? But listen to me, I'm not out here trying to preach. Not only I go through that too, and like even my career, gym, whatever, like anything, any facets of my life and platforms, I still go through those phases. But self-love is important too because it kind of makes you reassure about what your goals are and how you approach your life too. But anyways, like I definitely go through a lot of self-doubt and really like hated myself for that, doing that, and I kind of regretted doing that in some sense, but in hindsight, obviously, I'm happy, right? But yeah, I hated myself, hated her, the whole situation. I don't know who to turn to and stuff.
So why did that affect you so much at that point in your life? Because I understand, like, as you were saying, you didn't have the courage to tell that high school girl, right?
Yeah.
Then you grew up and you know, your social life got better. You interacted with more people, became a little bit more in tune with yourself. But here's this rejection coming your way. Your first rejection ever in life?
Yeah, I would say that I faced it.
Okay.
The thing is I think it's all because of the fact of like not being able to tell anyone and all built up and all that expectations and so forth were put on that one girl and she just boom said no. All she had to say was a yes or no. She said no and that's it.
And that's when that innocent love, that puppy love that you said just gets shattered.
That day, like, have you ever seen Barney Stinson when he changes from like that hippie to the
Oh
suit?
yeah,
It literally, that was my awakening.
Oh man,
The next
I
part
know
is
exactly what you mean.
listen. If you want to hear more funny shit that's gonna happen, you'll have some more good stories later on in this part. This bit, okay, so this is like legit when I went to my Barney Stinson phase.
Right.
Well, not yet. I'm still a little bit depressed.
Okay, so you're still a hippie.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like, it's all my,
figuratively,
like,
okay.
Like, my still, like, I was a nerdy guy, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and I wasn't in my best shape yet still, so, like, whatever, right? I was starting to get into workout, maybe just started.
Right.
Played more basketball a lot, so I was, like, super skinny at that time and whatever. And, yeah, anyways, I got heartbroken and felt shit about myself. All those things, cried. Like, you know, I got definitely upset and, like, you know what I mean?
So
Like,
you definitely had some strong feelings for this girl, man.
yeah, so, like, I think this was second semester of fourth year. So then, I don't know, and here's another thing, too, the side note. So I went back another year because I didn't know what I was doing. Everyone's graduating and moving on. I felt left behind on top of that. I didn't have a summer job, so I ended up picking up some like random shifts as a lifeguard. I fucking hated going to work every day. I felt so depressed. I felt like I had like no energy, motivation to do anything. And like that time I went to my friend and I tried to ask for advice. You know what he told me to do? Go to a strip club.
It's a great friend right there, man.
Dude, like,
I mean that sarcastically, of course.
Yeah, definitely worst advice ever. But like I definitely had no motivation. Felt so bad about myself. Didn't want to go to school.
So this is in transition to doing another year.
Yeah,
That's summer,
so
right?
from fourth year to fifth year.
Yeah,
I took an extra year, right?
Okay.
Yeah, man, I just felt so bummy about it, right?
Right.
And like, you know, I tried to ask that same guy and his buddy for pickup advice, like, you know, meet girls, whatever, right? And then they were still not that good with it. Worst mentors to have, right? You know, to guide you to the promised land.
So you're just not getting the good advice that you
I did not have
that you
LeBron
need.
leading me to the right?
Oh, man. Don't we all need LeBron in our lives?
We do, man. Carry a sad sack of guys to the whatever. But listen, look, it's not like I'm not trying to diss anyone or anything. But the thing is it's like if you had someone to help you with that, you know, they weren't the best. I mean, I could have even tried to help me. So like, it's all in hindsight, right?
Yeah. See, not everybody has the support system at
Yeah.
any given time. Like, you know, life's not perfect that way.
It isn't.
right?
And like, honestly, man, look, you're gonna fall in life so many times. You just gotta learn to get back up. Even small steps. If it's just stepping out of the house for a little bit,
Those failures teach you so much.
they do, man. And like, I'm pretty
They
sure
set you up for a better life.
for sure. Listen, look, I'm gonna tell you honestly. Like, sometimes I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to go out. All
Right.
those things. I ended up just like staying home playing games and stuff.
Right.
I felt sorry for myself, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who go through the same shit. But I'm telling you right now, the baby steps of you going outside the house once at a time, like, you know, one time, going out for some fresh air, going to go do groceries. Right? That's small steps of help build you get back out there.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So like, don't feel like, you know, you're on your own and you need someone to come take. Just try to do small steps. Right. And you gather yourself piece by piece by piece and rebuild yourself and grow.
Was there ever a night? Because some people, sometimes there's one night or there's one moment where they hit a brick wall and they say, you know what? I just cannot, for the life of me, feel like this for the rest of my life.
So I felt like that. So like,
Right? Did you hit that moment?
For sure.
Okay.
So like again, that summer, hated working as a lifeguard at the place I was at. I just didn't care really.
Yeah.
I didn't care if I showed up, if I did a good job or bad job. Yeah, I was like not really like working out or anything or playing basketball too much, and like I was just kind of depressed a little bit.
Yeah, it was just down on yourself, right?
And then you know what?
Yeah.
And those guys like who took me out to go to strip club and everything, whatever, and they try to help me go out to bars and stuff. It wasn't working. So what it really is that you get so low in life, and this is a good saying. When you're at the lowest of your life, that is when you're open to the greatest change.
Very true.
And at that point, I realized, hey, I don't want to feel sorry for myself. I hate this feeling. I hate feeling sorry for myself. I hate all this like self-doubt and like make myself guilty. No, I want to change. So I started like looking up how to like try to pick up girls and like stuff like that. And like that, obviously that culture and everything is not the best, but I still think it built something. So I learned.
But you were trying to dig yourself out. Right?
Exactly.
So you were,
I felt like sometimes, especially with my anxiety too, sometimes I feel like I'm drowning. Like the best way to explain it is like I'm digging myself in a hole. I need to climb out step by step out of the hole, or I'm drowning and trying to get out of that, right? Right? I'm suffocating kind of, right? Yeah. So I have to slowly get out. And I'm trying to end up seeing these guys on YouTube, whatever. Or I don't know if you've seen the show Keys to VIP.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's like a pickup show about like Canadian. It was actually Canadian too, by the way.
Yeah.
And I actually met the guy Peaches one time.
No way.
Twice.
Oh, awesome.
Or a couple times actually. A couple times.
Awesome.
So anyways, you see this on thing, you're like, you know what? Maybe I can do this too. You see it in public. It's like you know, it's the same thing going back. Like, oh, maybe I should make a grand romantic gesture like those movies, right? You see those on TV. These guys can do it. So you try it out, and I tried it with one or two girls, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's working and whatever, right? I slowly started building it up, and then that fifth year, I'm like, you know what? It's my last year. I'm gonna go out, party, meet some girls, and try to ask some girls out, right? So I ended up asking one girl, and it worked. And like,
oh wow,
yeah,
cool.
We went on a couple dates, and it worked. We kissed. I'm like, great, you know, awesome. Okay. So like, yeah, I started asking people out. Tried, you know,
where.
School, whatever, man. And so I tried school because school is the easiest way, right? You're in university, easiest thing you can do with someone. Be like, hey, I'm starting this class with you, or hey, I'm just taking this course.
There's so many different ways,
dude. Right? You don't even have to be that class. You could just show up and be like, hey, I just only came to come talk to you. I don't know if I should give all my secrets out yet, but
there's so many different ways, man. So many different excuses you can come up with, right?
Yeah, man. Honestly, like you got to shoot your shot, right? And like you never know until you try. But anyways, I did it. It kind of worked here and there. I was still fumbling along the way, and you know I'm still new to the game and trying it.
That's fine.
Right?
As long as you're putting that effort
into
changing your life.
Exactly. So part of it too is like, hey, and then you know if I fuck it up, sometimes I go back to my friends and be like, hey man, like what did I do wrong? And you know I started asking and started building and working on it. Right?
Absolutely.
So I got like one date with that one chick, and like it didn't work out so well, but you know in hindsight, I'm glad it did. Tried a couple other times too, and like try to get some numbers, and it was slowly working up. Right?
Yeah.
And that year was better. I went out a couple more times. My buddy,
This is your fifth year.
Yeah, and my buddy, I had a buddy 1 year below me, and me and him went out a lot of parties and stuff. And like, yeah, like I started more social. And it's my last year, and my grades were good. And like, yeah, it was good.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
So things are moving upwards. When did you finally come into yourself in the sense that
took a while actually?
Yeah.
I would say so. Like I went, but after my graduation year, like this is still me finding myself.
Yeah.
University's done, and you're like, crap, school's done. How am I going to meet girls, or how am I going to meet like people, right? So I made up this rule to myself. I would talk to a new person each day, specifically a girl.
Oh, wow.
Randomly. Doesn't matter. Anywhere.
So a new person, specifically a girl, each day.
Yes, no matter what. And force you to have conversations with people randomly and like learn to talk about things, anything at all, anything, right? And you're forced to go to talk to people randomly. It's kind of awkward, really. But I told myself I have to do it once at least. And I did that for a while, and I kept doing that. I built
Can you go into some of those other encounters that you had?
Sure.
Were either might not have worked in your favor or did work in your favor?
I'm going to lead up to even to further this. Like, in my mindset, it was like, okay, I'm going to just do. I stopped thinking so much about what she's going to think of.
The what ifs.
What if everyone is going to think of?
Right?
Because you're going up to a random person, everyone's looking at you.
Yeah.
That girl, she's like, what's up? Like, why am I talking to a random stranger? All these what ifs, you stop thinking, you just do, right? You're kind of like trying to put on a bit of a front and sell yourself a little, right? This is like, and then this is a bit of a trick I learned later on, like that you don't need to sell yourself, right? They need to sell to you. You turn the tables around later on.
That's interesting. Okay,
right. So I was selling myself all the time, right?
Right.
You know, to try and make this girl convince her that I liked her, like that she could like me back, right? We can go on a date, and like like I would try to sell myself, try to like I told myself stop giving, right? Stop bitching out. Right, I call it the bitch butterflies, right? Like my nervous system.
Okay.
Right, like these terms I found out online, whatever, through the pickup community, whatever, and like end up doing it. And like at that point, I stopped fearing failure and started learning from my failures a lot and realized even if I screwed up, how do I improve next time, right? And I forced myself to have random conversations with people, to be able to communicate, socialize. I learned that
all this just self-taught and came from within that place where you just wanted to change.
Right. It's an internal factor.
Yeah.
I say, is it an intrinsic part of me to want to change? And how do I produce that change?
Man.
It's building habits. Building a habit was talking to a new girl every day, and then building that habit being consistent. That's what it is, applying yourself consistently.
Right.
And that's how you grow and change as a person.
Very true.
Right?
Very true. And I've always been a proponent of the thought that until it comes from within you,
Exactly.
everybody, any force on earth, nothing's going to change until it comes from within yourself.
100%. And I work in healthcare. So if you told someone, hey, stop smoking and give them all these pros and benefits, you can give like a million pros and like, oh, sorry. And then like, you know what I mean?
Million cons for what it could damage, what damage does it do to your
they
body.
They won't do it until they come from an intrinsic part for them to want to change.
Yeah.
Then when the people are ready to change, you will. At that point, I had so low, right? The year before in fourth year when I asked that girl out and like I was going through my depression, that I was so open to being changed, right? And I was going out doing all these things. And I started also believing in the concept of your reality is based on your perception, right? You can control those factors in life. You can make your own choices in life and have a positive impact on your life, and you don't have to be controlled by destiny. You control your own destiny. So I started like, being more assertive, taking risks by going out more and like talking to people, right? And looking for more opportunities. So I graduated, right? And even if with my extra year, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I ended up do this thing where I was trying to figure out like what I'm going to do. So I'm like, maybe I'll try research. End up doing this thing where I volunteered at 3 different hospitals from like 9 to 3, go to work as a lifeguard from like 4 to 9 or whatever.
Okay. And
then 9 to 10 or 10:30, I would go to the gym. I did it for 6 months straight.
Wow.
And our mutual friend, we were going to meet up. We met up and worked out often, and we were on a grind, man. At the same time, I was trying to be social, go out too, always go out every weekend, go to like bars, whatever, meet people and whatever. I still try to do that, pick up, like, meet a girl each day. And it led to my success because I had like 6 interviews, ended up getting 2 job offers at the end by December of 2014.
So you internally, through your choices, turned your own life around.
Yeah. So
that's important. I love stories where people pick their own selves up.
Yeah.
And want to change so bad in their lives and make the active decision to change it too. Right. And they don't need to be. I mean, there are people that are extrinsically driven as well. But I love those stories where it comes from within because that's exactly how it will happen with me.
For sure. And then so I ended up getting a job downtown. Great job, a great hospital. But I think I got a little too arrogant. Right at that point,
so now it's not only helping you, but it's taking you too far.
Yeah. So sometimes I feel like I'm a high and low person. Like there's no middle ground.
So you're like two extremes.
Sometimes, but I'm feeling more now these days. I'm more like
you're mellowing out in the sense that again, we're always developing as human beings, right? There's never a final version or a final form.
Like Frieza.
This guy went Dragon Ball Z. There's never that because we just at least even in my life, I hope to always evolve, right?
Yeah.
Even at 70, if somebody, because like we look at old people that are like, oh, you know what, they're so stuck in their ways, they're just never going to see things differently. I hope to be hopefully 70 one day, and if some kid comes around and teaches me a new perspective in life, I'm okay at being like, oh, that's a new way of looking at it.
Yeah, man.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I think definitely.
I'm cool with that.
It should
kid,
be
adult, whoever.
Yeah.
And that's that's how we learn. That's how we keep growing it, no matter what age, right?
I think that's
as long as you're open, right?
No, and that's the thing. Like you have to learn to be open, right?
Right.
I think going back, I think it's important to continue to evolve as a person. I think and I tell my story, I think there's a huge growth, right?
So tell me tell me how you took it too far.
Yeah, so downtown job, right, going out partying every weekend with my buddy. Met some other people who were so down, and this is the problem with my life at that point. Like I had people in my life who were only good there for the good times, not the bad times, right?
Where the day ones at, man?
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of forgot them too because I got too arrogant, too arrogant, right? You know what I mean? I was going out too much, and work wasn't going that well for me either. Too, I was struggling a little bit.
Okay.
And you know what
happened? It's a tough field that you're in, man.
It was right.
Right.
But here's what happened too. So I was struggling with my job, right? End up after my birthday, right? Birthday weekend, I crashed an ATV. It's like a 4-wheel quad, right? A motor vehicle, whatever.
Crap. Okay.
I got into a near-death accident.
Damn. Okay.
Bad, yeah. And that time I was so arrogant. I think at that time I was going out with 2 girls at the same time.
So you just now with your newfound
Confidence.
newfound confidence, you're being reckless.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know,
literally reckless.
Life was given to me so well.
Yeah.
And you know what? Life can be taken away like that.
100%, man.
So like that point, like I crashed an ATV. Man, I was super lucky. I had the helmet on. I missed some rocks along the way. I fractured my pinky. I think I had a minor tear in my MCL.
Oh, wow.
I was put on a spinal board. I was so scared, man. I ended up having like a ticket for that too, but like I think got all sorted out, so it was fine. But fuck,
Damn,
man, I had to go
man.
through rehab.
Holy crap.
couldn't
How
go
long
back-
was recovery?
Not that bad, to be honest. It was like a couple months.
Okay.
And again, I went through another
Wait,
depression.
didn't you just say spinal board?
Yeah, because the precaution, right?
Oh, okay.
Right. So
Yeah, that's scary, man.
it was. I thought
Two things in my body that, like, I'll fight through anything, but two things I can't handle. Anything eye-related and back-related.
for sure.
I can't, man.
I'll tell you right now,
That's
like
sad, dude.
Back's one of the worst injuries, but as soon as I crashed the thing, I was like trying to move my legs and arms to see if I lost like
Feeling.
yeah, or numbness, right?
Yeah.
It was so scary, man. But yeah, man, like I was freaking
Do you want to
freaking-
go into it?
I mean, yeah, like basically we're with that mutual friend, right? We have
Yeah.
and our group of friends. You know
Yeah.
them too, you met them before. We all go to this cottage every weekend. I've been on the quad before on the back seat, but never on the front driving it.
Oh.
So a couple of people were ahead of me, and they were doing fine. We went over a hill. I veered off. My friend in the back, he jumped off, but I rolled with it and landed on my leg,
Holy crap.
and it was trapped.
the MCL, yeah. And, he got trapped.
Yeah, I got trapped because like
Oh, man.
the handle like trapped it.
Yeah.
Luckily, right? I thought my leg would be crushed for sure, right? But luckily, no, man.
That's
But I
horrible.
tried pushing my other leg. I think that's a leg that got tear because when I pushed it, pushed back, right?
Yeah.
My friend came down who jumped off, and he's like, "Oh," and he's like, "You try to push it," and then he's a quiet guy. I never hear him yell in my life. He yelled at the top of his lungs. I never heard him yell at the top of his lungs in my life. I was freaking out, and I told myself, like, not panic, breathe, you're gonna be okay. People start coming. We got an ambulance. They eventually lifted
That's
off.
scary, man.
It was scary, dude.
Holy crap.
Man, but
So another round of depression comes back to you.
yeah, 'cause, like-
from these injuries.
yeah, no, like injury. I couldn't go back to work. My performance was good at work either way. So like, it's just another reason for me to go. So at that point, my contract was done. They wouldn't let me get back on.
Okay.
I was on depression. Like I had unemployment at that point, right? Like I hit my low, man. Like really, like a low again, right?
Right.
I just stuck to like gaming every day on Gears of War, right?
Wow,
like
okay.
yeah, I was just depressed, right?
Yeah.
My parents weren't too happy too.
Yeah.
My mom was like disappointed in me too. And
So
I
the
was-
mindset's so that old. I mean, at that time it came up about for a different reason.
Yeah.
But now you that much older, that much wiser, that much
Yeah.
and now you know that your behavior now turned into. At one point, then the intention was to better yourself and to be more confident. But now you veered into the reckless area,
yeah.
and now consequences happen. Unfortunately, because of that, now it's just a newfound low, lower than low.
For sure. I became an asshole for sure, right? I used to just grab, didn't care what other people's feelings were, and like, you know what I mean? I'd go for a
So
walk.
how, like, why?
I think it just got too arrogant with my mind. I felt like, you know what? I can just do whatever I want. There's no consequence. I felt invincible.
Oh, damn.
And reality hit, right?
Damn, okay.
But honestly, that accident was the best thing that happened to my life. It was a second blessing. It was a blessing disguise. It was a second chance at life. Because what happened was after that, I was at a loss, right? I wanted to get back to where I was. So I had to go back in the gym and rebuild myself. I couldn't play basketball that well. And I was getting back into shape again and try to rebuild myself. Started doing more legs, working on my legs more and like trying to, right?
Okay.
So it brought more of a holistic sense of my body too. I started applying it
But
for
everything
job.
went back 100%? Like, you're good now? Or?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, that's
you
good.
saw me
That's-
ball now. So you
Yeah,
know,
no,
you know what's
that's
up.
for sure.
You know
You're
what's up.
quick, bro.
Yeah.
You are quick.
So everyone knows there's a good recovery, okay? You can do it too. You just got to put your mind to it. Just want to know it's anyone out there, right?
Wow.
But yeah, like end up like thinking, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go back to school. There's a program I always wanted to do, and I end up going back to school for the job I do now, right?
Excellent,
Right.
okay.
So I went back, applied, and I put it off before when I was working downtown, but I ended up applying again. And yeah, like I started like hanging out with the day ones again, right? Like brought
Oh,
back,
that's good.
brought
They took
back-
you back, though?
yeah, for sure.
It was
man.
tough, yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's why they're day ones.
For sure, man. They know you. You know,
They know you. They know you've made mistakes. They know you've been reckless, but the love is unconditional.
100%, man. You know, family is most important at that point too, and they helped me so much through that process.
That's beautiful to hear.
So like, you know, that whole crash happened like around like fall. Then comes January and stuff. Like I'm recovering, do better. Got some job interviews too. Hit and
Lovely,
misses,
okay.
whatever. So there's some prospect. There's growth happening, right? There's
Right.
you know like hope again, right? And you know I started trying to go on some dates again too. It's getting better, and then I end up getting into my program and I'm
Yeah.
traveling.
Oh, great. Where'd you go?
I end up going to Europe.
Oh, nice, man.
First time-
Where in Europe?
First time by myself. I went to Germany, Italy,
Very
France, and
nice.
Amsterdam. My brother came with me too, but we met
Okay.
up at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Everybody deserves a solo trip in life, man. Everybody's got to plan one out and go somewhere.
For sure.
It teaches you so much about yourself.
It does.
And, I mean, logistics in a brand new country you've never been before.
Yeah.
Come on.
For sure, man. I think for me it was like, you know what? I'm going to go start school again. We're moving to, one of our friends are getting married. Like, it all just added up, right?
Right.
And I'm like, I'm going to do this trip now. And here's the thing, too. Like, again, I put off things so much, right?
You know what happened? I feel like that accident showed you the mortality within you
Exactly.
and how, because of your reckless behavior, you took things for granted.
For sure. And taught you to be humble.
Exactly.
Right.
And that, yeah, like you said before, life can be taken from you at any time. And, you know, I'm very grateful that you're here today and you can talk about this experience because who knows, maybe there's people out there that even after their reckless behavior, they're just like, I'll just go back and do it again.
Yeah.
I'll just, you know, what's the worst?
What's the worst, right?
Yeah, what's the worst that can happen? you
Right.
know? And just continue living life on the edge in that way. Right.
Well, like, I'm glad I learned from that. I traveled Europe and came back to school.
Nice,
And, like,
okay.
And, like, I really, like, learned to, you know, find myself a bit more, too, and grow. You know, I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll try for a relationship this time around. Tried it with another person. It didn't work.
Okay.
I ended up kind of, like, screwing around a little bit. I was trying to, like, find someone. Maybe I'll be open to dating. My criteria for dating changed a bit, too, a little bit. I was looking for someone who traveled. Because I think... Sorry, go on.
No, that came out within you. You found, right? From
I think it's not
your
the
Europe
fact.
trip?
I think it's not the fact that they travel. It's more that they're flexible, they're open, right? Those factors that add.
That's so important.
Those are the qualities I see with people who travel, right? So I think that's what I was really looking for, but I couldn't really articulate that.
Okay.
Right. But maybe I did in some ways. But yeah. So then this is when I'm entering school. I'm back at school again. So
another program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when you're back at school, obviously there's a lot more people to socialize with. Your social life goes up again. And I find with education, a lot of more female people are like, a lot of more girls are in that. I'm not trying to be sexist, but it's kind of true in some sense.
Fair. Okay.
Especially my program, though, when I was in. But anyways, yeah, like, man, it's much more better. And I was being better quality girls because I felt it was more of a growth as a person too, right? And more quality people in general, right? I think still I went some ups and downs too through that journey of the 2 years because like I was struggling with the program in my first year, did better in my second year. I met some people I got along with. I thought I liked some people, but wasn't sure. I wasn't ready, I guess, yet to kind of like take it to the next step. And I think along the way, I hurt some people's hearts and broke some people's feelings. Broke some hearts and hurt some people's feelings. But I think for me, what I was learning is,
but you're still just finding your way to kind of.
I think so.
Figure yourself out, right?
I think the problem was like I was trying to take on too much at the same time, and I was screwing around a little bit too. But I think I learned that from all that experience, it's like maybe this is not for me too, right? Like I think like
This program.
No, more
this,
like the dating too.
Yeah,
right?
it's a dating scene. Yeah,
I think part of me too. That program was hard, man. But I got through it, and like I guess because I was in school and stuff, and those two things, I guess, is just because when you're in school or in a transition in life, whether you're working or you're starting a new job and stuff, like you're trying to figure out who you are. And so I still figure out myself a little bit. I was more humble from my previous accent, but still trying to figure out what I want for my life and stuff like that.
Yeah, just from all your experiences that you've faced that far. Right?
I still continue to travel. I went to Asia. I went to Costa Rica.
Amazing.
And
Okay.
So I still took
builds so much perspective when you see different places and how, and more importantly, how people live in these different places. Right. Not everywhere is the same way.
Yeah.
You live, right. Not everywhere is as sheltered. To be honest.
Yeah. I think the problem with me with dating and stuff and love, I think I was more looking for more physical attraction.
Okay.
And
like you were.
Yeah.
Particularly.
So. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
And then I wasn't really looking for like a best friend for per se because I guess
I'm glad you're honest with yourself.
I think so. Right?
I'm glad you're honest with yourself in the sense that you know what you want, and you know what, you're not afraid to ask for it.
For sure. I think the thing was with me too is like I'm pouring out a little bit of water right now.
Go ahead.
Yeah. For all the homies out there.
The ones in the friend zone.
Yeah, the friend zone homies. The Ron Stopples out there. Listen, look, I think for me, what it was is like, because I was in school, that was my primary focus. I wanted to get through school, do well, get a job. My family was most important to me. My day one homies, girls at the bottom of the agenda, unfortunately.
Oh,
right?
okay.
If I had to put a priority order, they were at the bottom, right?
That's honest, man.
It is. I'm sorry. And like, I try to get through all those things first, and then they would come last, right? And I think
you're entitled to that, though. You're entitled to prioritize how you see fit. It's your life, after all.
But I think also in hindsight, you should respect people's times, right?
No, I mean, not, see, I don't know about, of course you should.
Right.
Of course you should. But I mean, I just mean, I took that generally in the sense that a lot of people are like, oh, why are girls at the bottom bucket? Why aren't they somewhere else?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's your life. You prioritize your way.
For sure.
You get to prioritize your way. You know what I mean?
But I think it should be a mutual if you're entering a kind of like a some kind
Now,
of
you see, now you're talking about a relationship.
Yeah.
Of course you have to respect people.
Whatever they
Of
really-
course it has to be
Right.
mutual. Of course you have to, you have to be committed to making things work.
Yeah.
Right? But that's after you're in tune with the fact that, like, that's after you understand these things and grow into having these type of qualities for yourself. Only then can you expect that from somebody else. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
for sure.
It's funny. So many guys, you ask them, right? The average guy, you ask them, oh, what do you want in a girl? They'll go, oh, beautiful. This,
Yeah.
that, she needs to be this, she needs to be that. And they'll list 15 qualities, top to bottom.
Sure.
And then you ask them, okay, great. But like, what do you bring to the table?
Right.
What qualities do you have that this girl would find attractive in you? Not just aesthetically, but your personality. And they're just like, I think I'm a great guy, and that's it.
Yeah.
But you were so quick to tell me 15 qualities of what you like in a girl, but you can't tell me what you bring to the table. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like people need to, if you want to expect something from somebody else, you better make sure that you deliver that.
For sure. I think, like I was gonna flex a bit, and I agree with you. I had a criteria list for them, but if I had to really tell myself back then, what did I bring to the table? I thought I had some things I brought, but not quite to what I was expecting from other people.
What you're expecting from other
Yeah.
people. Okay.
But yeah, I definitely think like if you're in a flux in life where you're in school or like transitioning something from like location, whatever, you're only looking for something that fits your life, right?
schedule.
Your schedule, exactly. Right? So maybe you don't have enough time to devote to being in, like, to this relationship or love, whatever, right?
Fair, but you still, so while you were in that flux, you were being honest with the fact that, you know what, man, right now I just have time for a physical relationship.
For sure. But see, I was honest with myself, but not
Yeah.
with them.
Oh, okay.
That's the
There you go.
problem.
There's the disconnect. There we go.
There we
There's
go.
the disconnect.
There's
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
I think that's a problem, and maybe I should have articulated that more often with people.
Fair. Okay.
Let people on, and that's where heartbreak. And I
And
honestly,
I appreciate your honesty in terms of being able to self-reflect on these feelings
Yeah.
that you had at that time and sharing that with us. Like that by us, not just me, but the people that will be listening.
for sure, man. I think I fucked up on that end, and like I definitely, I'm sorry to all those people I've hurt their feelings, and for sure, right? And I really genuinely don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And it sucks to break up with people and like have that conversation too, and
Right.
lead them on, right?
It sucks. Yeah.
It does, man. And I hurt people along the way, and I got hurt too along the way too, right?
Right.
So those 2 to 3 years were pretty rough, right? And like, so like I say, like once I graduated, right, I had to write for my like license exam. I struggled with that, didn't pass a few times, and then and I struggled with that. Still kind of like screwing around a bit, and then I was like, I'm gonna focus really really hard and get through this exam. That time, like no dating, just focus on the exam, just lift, and like that's it, right? Or play basketball.
Lovely. Okay.
Passed, and then
Amazing.
I went on a trip again, and I was kind of like lost, man. I was like,
Where to this time?
Indonesia and Bali.
Man, I'm loving these
And
travels.
and like Singapore too. Yeah, it's good stuff. Honestly, for me, and I was by myself, but this time I felt lonely. It was weird. It was like the first time I really.
So the first time, and you've traveled a lot, but
By
at the
myself.
time, yeah,
By myself.
This was what Singapore.
Yeah, this was last year, 2018.
Yeah.
So like I was by myself, man, and like I felt lonely, man. I actually wanted to go home within the first 7 days. I told my friend. Yeah. Like me and her, like we're close buds, right, from our program, right?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I was telling her, man, like, I want to go back home. She's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm missing something. And that's the point I realized, like, maybe I need someone to go with.
Okay, somebody to share these experiences with.
Exactly. It was
'Cause there's
just
only so much alone time you can, so many cool things you can see alone
Yeah.
until you come home and you're like, until you're there and you're like, oh man, it would be cool to see somebody else's face light up
Yeah, man.
and
Or
see
just
these things with me.
share with
them.
them.
Share them. Yeah, that's
For
exactly
example, I'll
it,
tell you an
yeah.
example. So I woke up at 4 a.m. or whatever, 3:30 a.m. to go to the base of this mountain, pitch black. We climb it for 2 hours. You get to see the sunrise. Breathtaking.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
Mount Batur, right?
Okay.
Amazing, man.
Singapore.
Yeah, no, Indonesia.
Indonesia, yeah,
Bali.
sorry. This was Indonesia.
Bali,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Amazing, man. Like, crazy sight, right? Like, the sky's just bleeding out, and, like, it looks beautiful, and, like, the fog gets moved. You just see the mountain. It's just clear, amazing, right? really wish I had someone with me, man. That journey was kind of weird. And like, you know, I was like trying to think about, okay, I passed my license exam after all these things. And again, it kind of reminded me of like my first undergrad where like I was left behind. Everyone else already graduated, started working. And I'm like, crap, right? But I became in my own area, and I stopped. Again, this is a life lesson or two along the way. I stopped caring what other people thought. I'm like, just focus on yourself, stay in your lane, and just stay focused on what you want. Who cares what X person did or Y, whatever, right? Just do it on your time, your agenda. Not everyone's gonna be in the same level. Like maybe I'm more physically fit than other people, or maybe you know, like I have other things going on for myself that other people don't, right? And they're more ahead in their careers. Great, right? Like I had to learn to appreciate myself again.
You are running your race.
Exactly. Always.
You're not, and people tend to forget that it's human nature to do this, to compare and to hypothetically run somebody else's race and be like, oh, but we're in the same year, so why are they so successful? You know, why are they doing this? But I'm not doing this. Oh my God, I should be doing this. But you know, you lose sight of the fact that at the end of the day, you should be racing yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Your biggest competition is the person you see in the mirror.
Yeah.
And that's all that should matter. Why do you worry about these fake societal thinking and ways that is forced upon you and expected of you to perform at a certain level?
Yeah.
You know, you perform the way you see fit.
Exactly. And like those expectations. So part of this too, now we follow each other on Instagram, right? Like whatever, social media. I think you and me both do that, right? Dude, that trip, I didn't even want to post anything on social media because I'm like, I don't care who wants to see it. Like, I don't know what's the point. But my friends are like,
that was for you.
Yeah, and then some of my friends like, you know what, just do it. You know, you might feel bad. And in hindsight, I'm happy I did it because it looked cool. But I'm like, I don't really care about all the likes. You know, if I enjoy the picture, I enjoy the picture, right? And that's what it matters. My validation, what I wanted, right? And now this is what leads up to another part. I think this is kind of coincidence too. So during this trip, right, you know, towards the end, I met this beautiful girl, right, like in my hostel. I'm like, this girl's cute. You know, I'm glad I went up to her, I talked to her, right? And conveniently, she was leaving at the same time I was. I'm like, okay, whatever. I ended up hanging out a lot. And I'm like, yeah. And like, I wasn't sure to ask her out because I was kind of a little chicken, right? Because I thought she was really pretty, right? End up like saying like, hey, like, so like, what's your situation? Or like, you see anyone back home? She's like, no. I'm like, no. And I'm like, I think you're attractive, right? Mm-hmm. And like, I was kind of being like an asshole a little bit, like, you know, how I usually am like before, right? Yeah. Like, you know, and it kind of worked. And she's like, you know, you don't have to be mean to me all the time. Just be nice. And you know what it taught me to be? Like, be myself more and just be nice.
So she just called you out. Sometimes that's what it takes, man.
So I ended up being more true to myself. She ended up liking me more.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And like, dude, I was like, one time we're eating at this restaurant. I was so sloppy and like, it was like all over. And she still appreciated me. Like, okay, if this girl can appreciate that. We end up like still like, you know, like that's whatever, hilarious. Like liking me and like, okay, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, and I had this crush on her too, and I'm like, I kind of missed her, but I'm like, I think it was more a product of timing, us leaving and the trip, but it was really nice, like, you know, to meet someone I genuinely
connect. It's a great experience, yeah, and it still brings you back, right?
And it brought back to my first point, like, I wish I brought someone along with, like her, right?
Yeah.
But
like if you had shared Indonesia with her the whole time,
yeah, man,
that would have been something else.
She was a cool person, honestly, genuinely. Like if I ever saw her again, I would thank her because she was a nice person, and I want to be her friend. Obviously, we can't be in a relationship together, but like I would love to be her friend again because genuinely she had and I think along the way you meet some people that had an impact on your life, and she did. She really taught me like, you know what, you can still be okay with being someone and being comfortable who you are, like openly. Like I was still comfortable who I am, but comfortable with someone else, like right, being comfortable with myself with someone else. That was still a hard concept, and being completely open. That was hard, man, and
it's
like
very tough.
She taught me that, and like, so whatever, right? I come back from my trip. I ended up applying for a couple jobs. I ended up like again, I took my own opportunity. I ended up calling the manager outside of her office hours.
Oh, okay.
And like got her email somehow and like applied.
Yeah.
Skipped the HR process and she's like, "Okay, send me your resume." Then end up getting a call from HR. Got my job that way.
Nice, good stuff, man. You find another way in.
Yeah. So like again, taking control of your destiny. Another narrative I want to put out there, right?
Yeah.
But so then I'm starting my new job. This time, more humble about it. More open to learning. I'm doing much more better now, right? Because I'm getting better
mentally, physically.
Yeah. Like my first time in that downtown job, right? Because like I'm actually getting help more and support that I need, and not to struggle, not to drown and ask for help, right? I think part of it is that when you have to learn, like you need to go out and ask for help, get the extended olive branch, right? At that point, I thought, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna date casually, whatever. And I didn't meet one girl, kind of got along, but I found some things weren't clicking. I ended up meeting this other girl, and like she's the girl I'm seeing now, my girlfriend, right? Like. I thought,
you have a girlfriend now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So like this is my like first legitimate relationship, I guess. Anyways, I would say. But anyways,
after all these years, your first legitimate relationship and experiences. You know what I mean? There's never timing on these things, and a lot of people get caught because again, all of our races are different, and all of our like we all learn at different paces as well, right? And people tend to forget that, oh, just because somebody didn't learn something in high school, just because somebody didn't learn anything in university, doesn't mean that they're never going to learn something.
Oh, no, man. You can still learn, man. Don't give up on yourself.
Yeah,
really?
I actually struggled through that with a friend. And, some people go through much heavier life experiences.
Sure.
That teach them things much earlier on.
For
Some
sure.
people don't, right? Whether that's by choice, whether it's not, at the end of the day, it still factors into their overall learning.
For sure.
Right.
And then upgrading them to growth.
Yeah, and I mean, based on my experiences, I learned faster. So at one point, I used to blame this person that, yeah, we don't relate because, I thought, because I've learned something, I expected the same of you.
Yeah.
And I thought I was right in doing that, but I never was. You have to give somebody else the benefit of the doubt and the consideration to learn at their own pace, right? But back to your point, yeah, your first legitimate relationship.
I mean, I went out with someone for a couple of people, like a month or so, but like this, like nothing, like
No, yeah, but it didn't last. But this one feels right.
because those ones had an end point, right?
Okay.
But this one, like, okay, I honestly didn't even think this girl I would even continue seeing, right? But I don't know, something kept bringing me back to her. I don't know what it was, right? Maybe she played like hard to get or whatever, right?
Okay.
And I was seeing more often. Like it was a physical attraction first, and like it was more physical.
The
but
one
then,
now.
yeah, right. But like,
Yeah.
but like it built up a more emotional connection, right? And I ended up liking her more, and then I ended up like wanting her more, and I ended up asking her out. I have no regrets in hindsight because she became my best friend, and like it kind of come full circle to what I'm trying to get to point.
That's very important. Finding friendship with love.
Yeah,
Right.
man. I didn't think that was important. I think like along the way you learn to become friends, right? And like you learn to genuinely connect with people and like
Yeah.
on a deeper level, like an emotional, spiritual, physical level too. All those
Yeah,
things.
because you know what? Aesthetics fade.
For sure,
They're
man.
temporary, and while physical connection and all that stuff, it's great. I'm not saying it's not needed. It is its own level of needed, but what lasts, what makes it last, what takes it the distance is that emotional, spiritual connection where you develop that friendship, where you can have that open communication and truly enjoy this person's company.
100%, man.
Right? Where you are hanging out and it doesn't feel like anything is forced. Everything comes off naturally. You have that chemistry that works, and that's beautiful.
See, sometimes when I went out with people, I'm like, I have a time limit. I got to go home. But no, man, I wanted to stay with this person all the time.
Yeah,
It sucks. I have to go back.
and you feel that way naturally, right?
For sure, man.
Yeah.
The only reason I want to leave, I have to leave, and I'm on a time limit because I have work the next day or something, right? But dude, I would hang out with this person all the time. Like she genuinely, like I love being around her. I love spending time with her, man. Like we do everything together.
So
right?
this person and the way you feel about her, I'm sure it addresses that loneliness you felt in Indonesia.
We talked about this, me and her before, right?
Yeah.
I think it's for sure there's a bit of loneliness, right? But like I'm not looking for someone to support myself because I can live on my own, right? And be my who.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
But like I think it's just sharing.
And we shouldn't expect that because a lot of guys actually fall victim to
sure.
wanting somebody else to take care of them when they
Exactly.
don't want to shoulder the responsibility on themselves.
I agree. And
It's
I
on
think
you.
Right. And then some people like date people out of desperation, right? Or loneliness.
It's
And
on you, man.
And I don't want to knock against those people, right?
Yeah.
But I generally didn't think much of this. It just worked well, and we end up like sharing and like sharing things together. Like, that's what it really comes down to. It's not just some kind of deficit. It's more about sharing it together, right?
Yeah.
And making it like
Mutual experiences.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Now, I have a quick question on...
Sure.
Are you ever afraid of becoming reckless again and arrogant?
No, because
And why are you comfortable with yourself now and can confidently say no?
I definitely can confidently say that because I know my mortality in life. I work at in a hospital, so I see that on a daily basis. I think I learned my lesson the first time and hearing talk about these things is a great self-reflective piece too. I think I have a great life, man. I have a great family. I have a good job, good health, and I don't want to take those things for granted. So I'm not going to get reckless. Would I go out party like crazy, risk my relationship? No, man, that's short-sighted. I think about the long term now a little bit more. And there are some consequences too, right? Obviously, you got to take risks in your life, but more calculated risks. But still,
No, I respect that perspective. And even though it's been a winding road
For sure.
to get to this perspective, to get to this comfort within yourself that, hey, I'm good with myself. I'm at this place in my life where life is good. But the most important piece is that your self-reflection should bring about the perspective of what you have in life and what you as opposed to what you don't have.
Sure.
Right? You said, I'm blessed. I have a great family. I have these great things. I have, you know what I mean? So your gratitude will take you so much further than you saying, I guess I could get this.
No.
I guess I could get that. I guess, yeah, sure, this life is great, but I mean, I'm still missing this. Or I'm still missing that. You know what I mean?
I think
like you said, very short-sighted.
For sure. I think being humble and gratitude makes you more realistic, and like you realize you're really fortunate. You're really rich in life.
Yeah.
If you want to be a rich man, turn on the faucet. You free water. That's being rich alone. Legitimately.
That's so true,
Right?
man. Man, when I was in Nicaragua and I saw so we had 3 meals. The locals didn't even eat 3 meals. Okay? That in itself is just crazy. But there was this lady whose house, like the village had kind of elected her to like help the volunteer participants. That was us. Long story short, I was there on a project. We're building a classroom. We're building a school. We'd have breakfast, lunch, dinner at this lady's house, right? And this entire house, it was a hut. It had, I think, two small bedrooms, dining room. The kitchen was outside the house. And the inside of the house was powered by 1 light bulb. That's it.
Crazy.
1 light bulb, right?
Crazy, dude.
And the thing is, it was sufficient light to power all 3 rooms.
That's crazy, dude.
At night, we would hang out there for dinner. But we never, each one of us were blessed to come from a much better life. But when we sat down at that dinner, nothing mattered more than the food that was served to us on the table and the unity amongst all of us to eat together, break bread together, and just literally share each other's company and have a good time. Nobody cared. Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, did you just focus on the similarities versus the differences?
That, as simple as it sounds, that's all we cared about in that moment. Nobody cared about the fact that there was only 1 light bulb in the house. Nobody cared about the temperature. Nobody cared about all these other. Nobody cared we were in a village. Nobody cared we were underprivileged in terms of like the amenities
culture, religion.
That's it.
All those
because at the core of everything, we all bleed the same color.
Sure.
And
And
we're all
that's true.
headed to the same destination, right? Why not hold hands as opposed to focus on our differences?
For sure, man.
As opposed to focusing on our differences.
Yeah.
That's just conflicts.
For sure. I'm going to tell this to other people too. Like, and there's people who want to date outside of their culture and stuff. That's the situation with me, the person.
You're in an interracial relationship?
Okay, and that has some own challenges too. But I realized too, you got to have your own spine, and you got to figure out like, is this person worth it? Right. And it is. I honestly would not take her anything else. Right. And I'm not gonna limit my life choices based on religion or whatever.
Religion, culture, race, but nationality, whatever. Yeah,
everyone's different, right? If their faith is that more important, then for sure you want to find someone who shares the same kind of faith, right? For me, I don't have those kind of things.
But you think love is blind?
Sometimes, yeah. You might like oversee something.
Sometimes,
yeah, you might oversee some little small things that other people notice, but at the end of the day, if you
but blind in terms of appearance and all that, like clearly you're in an interracial relationship. You never let your culture get in the way or your religion get in the way, or not that you're, I don't know if you're a religious person or not, but you see what I mean? Like in terms of love is blind, you can find a human being can find love with another human being.
For sure.
That's the first thing. And
for sure.
As opposed to a brown person can only find love within the brown community.
So
or a white person can only find, you know what I mean?
Did you believe in soulmates?
I used to, I'll be honest with you. I used to believe that again, what's the definition of a soulmate, right? That there's one perfect person for you, destined for you. You will meet them at X point in your life, and happily ever after, fairy tale Disney story.
Great.
Right?
Write the script.
Is that the perfect definition of soulmate?
Yeah.
Okay. Growing up and having faced whatever experience I have in the relationships that I've been blessed with, and I've learned a lot from them. I think at the end of the day, the person, that definition of a soulmate that I said before, turns into you find a person that you're just most compatible with.
For sure.
And that's it, right? Now, that's not to say that, and most compatible comes from you being able to compromise, or whatever, your partner being able to compromise, open communication, all types of stuff, right? That when you go through things together, you realize things about each other that bring you, in comparison to both your life experiences, the most closest.
For sure.
And then close enough to be able to hold hands for the rest of your life if you believe in the institutionalized version of marriage.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I made it very textbook sounding, but I hope I got my point across. That's that my soulmate definition of it, the naive definition of it, changed into a more realistic and more applicable definition. That I feel like that's my answer now. That I guess I'm. You're just gonna find that person that you're just most compatible with.
Sure, and I agree with that concept of compatible. And I think it ties to my concept of timing and location. If I move to another area,
Which is,
and then during a certain part of my life, I met them because I went back to another course.
nobody can deny that.
Yeah,
it does play a big part of your life, man.
For sure, and like
Professional, personal, anything.
So the funny thing is, the person I'm seeing, she was moving to another place, and I just caught her at the end of her moving.
Yeah.
And
What if she'd moved?
never would have met.
Yeah,
Exactly,
right? Like, it's crazy, right?
Right? And like, I just caught her at the end of it moving, and then I ended up still talking to her, and like timing too. Man, like I was busy with so I just met her at the start of my job, right? The course of that point, and I was so stressed a lot of times because I was just trying to make sure I get past the probation period, right?
Yeah.
And do good, and like I'd hardly text or whatever, right? It kind of played to my factor because it kind of seemed like I was unavailable sometimes, right? So
Right.
you gotta play a little bit of my games.
Man, I hate those games.
I know.
I hate those games.
But it wasn't like I deliberately did it all the time.
No,
I
100%.
literally,
Yeah, you're right.
She even asked me like, so now you have time to talk to me all this time? I'm like, well, because I'm more organized now, right?
Right.
I get to actually take a break properly, right?
Right.
But so like that's part of the factor too.
That's crazy.
But genuinely, like like the soulmate compatibility thing, compatibility. Like our schedules click, flexible. For sure. For me, I think that part of me was like finding someone that's compatible a lot, right? Independent too.
Who understands your way of living, you understand her way of living.
Exactly. And respect it.
And you respect that.
Yeah.
That's the umbrella over the whole relationship, respect.
I think it's like you guys, I could be independent of her and she could be independent of me, and you could be codependent too.
You know what? Exactly, right? And that's something else that from our original naive and young version of love, where it's just all huge romantic gestures.
Yeah.
You just gotta go out there and with a whole big bang, and you know what I mean? Like, which is, don't get me wrong, it's still great if you do it, right? It keeps your love young. However, the dependency. Sometimes when you're young, dependency is extremely high. Your emotional dependency, physical dependency, everything is kind of just throw on your partner. As you grow up and you become more independent, your definition of love matures as well, right? And to be honest, I don't always, because that's what I'm struggling with now, having that mature definition of love, because I like my young,
Me too, man.
naive definition of. I love that. I
Makes
love
you feel
the crazy. Yeah, it makes you feel young, and I honestly I love that. And a small part of me, even though I've grown up now, wants to keep believing in that.
So why don't you think you won't find that in another person? I never thought I would even find that with one person.
Life takes us weird places, and I can't control that.
I didn't think I would be looking for that factor or that thing in my life, but
Right. But I mean, with the mature version, it's exactly that. Okay, at this point of your life, you have your own thing going on, professionally and personally. Your partner has their own thing going on, professionally and personally. And now you meet in the middle, and again, the most compatible and most, because I feel like that young love, that naive love, has drowned in those negative experiences. Does that make sense?
yeah, for sure.
It has drowned. And I want to use that negative connotation because I'm trying to revive it back. Having found a newfound relationship, that is a love that I want to give.
For sure.
That's the type of love I want to give. But within me, I feel like, oh man, it's like kind of dead.
I think so too. Like
Right? How do you feel? How do you feel with that in your relationship? Having gone through all these, your entire story that you've kind of told me now, and having your love transform and take this new mature role in your life, right? And of course, you're saying you don't want to take your current relationship for granted. How do you balance that? How do you balance the young love versus this more mature love you have to share now? Do you ever feel that you struggle to bring that back out of you?
You know what it is?
So it's a really loaded question.
No, here's the thing. To go back to that whole like, you feel like you're drowning in that narrative.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like before her, or even like maybe I said like 2017 that year. I was kind of more jaded still. Like I was just like, you know what, you don't really care about me and stuff like that. I don't really believe in that stuff. I kind of laughed at people, couples, and stuff like that.
Right.
I was that kind of person a little bit, right? And then I don't know, man. Like really, what it comes down to is like meeting the right person that brings it out of you. I don't know. I really think like I'm not like okay, I'm not that lovey-dovey person. Like, I'm not really big on PDA and stuff, but like sometimes I don't care, right? Because I'm proud of who I'm with and I'm proud of
That's
myself.
how you feel, and this person makes you feel that way.
Exactly. It brings it out of you. So I don't know. I think there is a part of me that always wanted this.
You also have to give it time.
For sure. And I think
Right?
that person draws it out of you. It's there, but I think that person I'm with now brings it out of me, and I'm happy to be that, you know?
And now you're more instinctive, and you listen to your gut. Where if this is how I feel about this person, this is how I'm going to show.
Yeah, for sure. I think and if I had to go back to your question, I think like how do we keep it young? I don't know, like small things. I mean, we talk about this too, like, and she agrees with this. She wants to be with someone where they can be in just an empty room and they would just have fun, loads of fun, and like, and I feel like I could do that with her too. Like we just don't need a lot, right? Just need each other.
Exactly.
And I think that's what keeps it does, and keeps us young.
Keeping it young is not a problem, but I mean, do you ever find yourself frustrated with your newfound definition of love that it's more mature now?
Yeah, sometimes like like
see what I mean?
Like I think because you're caught up with like the work life, other things.
Yeah,
it's hard to like.
You're an adult now, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I can't just chill with you at the mall for 8 hours.
No.
Like, I can't do that.
There's
anymore.
times where me and her just literally sit down, put our laptops, and like pulling up our calendar, like try and plan like our dates and stuff like that. Or like we got to answer emails and like other things, and like But we start trying to make time. Like you got to make time. Like we still make time. Like
man.
Whether it's like sharing a meal or cooking a meal, or sometimes I go get the pizza.
And it's not a chore.
Yeah.
To make time for the people you love.
You don't, no, man.
Never should be.
I'll give you an example, man. Like so, last week the girlfriend had to go to work at like 6 a.m. So I woke up at like she had to leave by 6:30, right? And like she had to get up at like 5:50. I ended up getting up with her at 5:45 to make breakfast for her because I cared enough, right? And I thought, like, that
all I got to tell you is you're gonna go the distance.
Maybe or
that type of behavior.
Or
that, no. I'd like to think that is that's incredible, man.
Bro,
I'm sure
I never thought
that.
I never thought I would actually do that kind of crap for anyone, right?
Yeah,
maybe like my family,
but like you said, she brought it out of you.
Because I felt bad, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Okay, now you feel bad. Okay, cool.
No. Because like, okay, you know what it was?
Don't tell her that.
No. I actually genuinely wanted to do that for her because she has to go in for 4 hours, and then we're gonna spend time for the rest of the day together.
Yeah.
And so she had the whole day, booked out for me, and like she let me stay over, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll do something nice for her.
Right.
And man, I made a crazy good breakfast that day. She was pretty happy, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like, you know what I mean? Like, cooked it up, man. I was out here like Gordon
amazing,
Ramsay,
man.
like Hell's Kitchen.
Gordon Ramsay. Yeah.
Where's the risotto?
That's hilarious.
No,
man.
but like, look, seriously, man, like that kind of stuff, like those gestures, I don't mind, and like, because I care about the right person.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not trying to knock against the people I've dated. Again, I'm very happy with the people I've dated in the past. Whoever I've been intimate,
brought you to this fun.
Exactly.
This version of yourself now. Right?
You know, Kanye says that thing in the line. You had to date 1,000 just to get to the right one. I don't. Just right? Like, I've dated some fair people to get to this point, and they helped me along the way. Whether they hurt my feelings, I hurt them, or we mutually broke up. Whatever the case is, I would not be the person I am thanks to them, and I got to thank them along the ways here, right?
See, that's a very mature way of looking at things,
for sure, man.
Right.
And like, look, shit happens, and I'm sorry for if I ever like hurt their feelings too. But like along the way, if I got hurt too, like it sucks, but you learn, right? And you learn, and it brought you to the right person. Now, am I going to be with this person forever? I don't know, but I'm really happy. And again, if things didn't work out with this individual right now, which would suck, but I would say I've learned so much about myself and who I can be and what kind of person, a man, and individual I can be too, right?
That right there is extremely important. And you know what? To sum it up, I feel like your rejection has brought about an enormous amount of self-reflection.
Dude, yeah. So
right?
This happened like 2012, 2013. Now it's like 5 years later. Man, I've grown so much as a person.
Yeah. And that's what life's about, man.
For sure,
as long as you can embrace your growth and not be blamed for it. Because in this social media realm,
for sure,
people are pulling up stuff from 2003, 2006, 2009, and holding your 2019 version accountable for that time.
Yo, if anyone did that right now, for sure I'd be also like blog to you.
Yeah.
My buddy says like, hope I never follow you on blog to you one day. Right? I'm insane. Like, you just might, because I must have done some fucked up shit back then. And I did. I fucked up here and there and like whatever, right? But look, this is the person I am today, and I'm
you're taking ownership of that.
For sure. And I fucked up, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm learning from that, and I'm sorry, right? But at the end of the day, I want to say like, you grow as a person. And again, let's go back to the original point of this whole conversation, the heartbreak and everything. We talked about a lot of things. I just want to say like, look, it sucks what happened. If you've been hurt, broken, whatever, listen, you will one day get yourself up. I know this because we're human beings. We are strong individuals. We're capable of such great things. 100%. You could piece yourself back together. And if you need supports and stuff, like listen to this conversation we're having. Because I've done it, man. I've been there where I've honestly felt so shit about my life. honestly, man, like I hit some really bad lows in my life. Yeah, man, I just got such bad lows, but I really learned to piece myself together, and with some people too. And people do reach out. You know, you'd be surprised who you go to for help and what they can do for you. It might be small little things. You never know, or even big things. You just don't know until you try, and that's part of it too.
Yeah, no, I love the way you put it. And I guess in closing, I also want to point out that when you were reckless and you realized those people that were there for the good times, but then later on after your accident, and you turned to your day ones, and they took you back in.
For
and
sure.
They're like, hey, we love you unconditionally. I know you went through some shit in your life, but we're there for you.
Yeah, man.
Right? That's important, man. Keeping your day ones around, right?
For sure.
That know you for who you are. Because, yeah, there was a point in your life where you couldn't turn to anybody and not get the right advice.
Yeah.
So, did you get that support from your day ones eventually? And
when it came to that point where I crashed ATV and like and all that stuff, they helped me. And it's funny now, like that individual just had a baby, and like I'm part of their life.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Incredible.
But I just want to add too, man. Like I said, like with going back, like the depression, all that stuff. You are a product of your perceptions, right? And like how you believe in who you are, right? So you have the power to make choices and to make decisions in your life and control of your life. Don't feel like you don't. Don't feel like all these things is uncontrollable. No, you can. You just got to believe in yourself and know that it's not going to be an overnight thing, one by one. And just take risks, right? You never know. Really just try, right? I think people give up sometimes, and you never know what's going to happen, and be okay with failing. It's okay to fall.
100%. And these failures build character, but at the end of the day, what I can truly hope for these people that want to change their life, that when that call comes from within, make sure you answer it.
For sure,
make sure you bring about that change in your life that's sincerely needed.
For sure, man.
To move your life in that positive direction that you've been seeking all your life. Right?
For sure, man.
Because you did that. And you're here today to talk about it. So honestly, I cannot thank you enough for such a wonderful, wonderful talk on so many different topics. Yeah. But these lessons are invaluable.
For sure, man. Right. And like anyone that's listening, man, like just know that we all go through struggles.
Yeah. It's relatable. We're all human beings.
For sure.
And none of this should ever be taken for granted.
No, man.
Thank you so much for stopping by the Heartbreak Hotel, man. Yeah. It's stories from people like yourselves that keeps this hotel just alive.
Man, I don't want to check out, but might come back another time.
You're welcome anytime, man. Thank you so much.
No problem, man.